Today on the channel, we take a trip through time and space with Totally 80's NECA Ultimate Alf.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another NECA Ultimate unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we go totally 80s, but really could be 90s, 2000s, you name it, as Alf's been around since the 80s, but officially totally 80s Alf NECA Ultimate Edition. But for all your Alf needs and everything else under the sun, hit up jaystoysandgames.com. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 15% on all in-stock items. Gotta get a deal over there at jaystoysandgames.com. And Alf, of course, what can you say about the guy? He's been around since the 80s, swimming into our hearts, eating cats, doing his thing. Shout out to Alf, and shout out to Alf NECA for the 4th Alf Ultimate figure here. A little crazy to think about it, and I think we're good on Alf figures for now. We'll see what ends up happening in the future, as we did just recently unbox an Alf from San Diego Comic-Con not too long ago here on this channel. But of course, we're going to do this unboxing like we do all the other unboxings on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. So without further ado, see what Alf's up to right here. Looking good in a crazy 80s, and you could say 90s packaging style here. I can't remember what year Alf stopped being on TV. I remember being very small watching Alf. But I have to think he went into the 90s, and if anything, he did have a TV movie in the 90s, I do know that. But Alf's been a mainstay. He's been around. He's a wisecracking guy, and like I said, he likes to eat cats as well. But looking good in a very 80s style packaging, like I said, early 90s too. Alf, alien life form, very cool, very clever, of course. Another action figure, Gag Me, it says right there, which is pretty cool, tongue-in-cheek. As I mentioned, we've had 3 previous ones. This is the 4th one right here. Totally 80s Ultimate Action Figure. Alf, no problem, it says on the shirt. Totally 80s edition right here. You call those Space Invaders? Played a little Atari, old school Atari back there. Then on the back, got all kinds of stuff going on. Let's read the back, see what it says about our friend Alf here. Alf crash landed through the roof of the Tanner family's garage and square into the hearts and homes of America's television viewers. This short, furry alien life form quickly surprised everyone with urbane wit, and unusual customs and habits. Let's do lunch, he says on the back, and I'm down with that. Includes shirt, sunglasses, pizza, TV, cell phone, puzzle cube, gaming console, skateboard, and interchangeable hands. So a lot of accessories with this one here. But I'm ready to put Alf to the side, and it's time to get a Willie Tanner figure. Can we get a Willie Tanner figure? Better yet, can we get Seinfeld's mom? Let's get her figure. That's what I want to see next from NECA. Get me Seinfeld's mom. On the inside, nice bubble window there going in. And then, of course, what's he say over here? Like whatever. Oh, my gosh. Like whatever. So much sass from old Alf there. Of course, crash landing on the Tanner family property right through the garage. We'll never forget it. And there's Alf, a fairly heavy figure for as small as he is. But a lot going on in here. I'm going to take this offline, get him out of the twist ties. We'll be back talking all things totally 80s Alf. All right, we got Alf out of the package. Let's dive into the accessories, then we'll dive into the figure itself. But let's start off with Alf and his hands, how about? And he's got his talking hands. He's got his Kyle talking hands. He's ready to go. He's ready to work a room, ready to work a crowd. A lot of people always tell me in some of my videos, say, Kyle, you use your hands too much. You're talking with your hands. Well, that's a lot of my day job training, I guess is what that is I do a lot of presentations for a lot of big customers, a lot of big groups, hundreds of people sometimes 10, 15. But you sit there and you work the room. You don't just stand still. You just don't sit here like this. I get going. I get passionate. You know how it goes. And I learned that from Alf. Long story, long way to get there. I learned that from Alf as a little kid, talking with his hands, giving it out there. So shout out to Alf once again. But he got the splayed out hands. No fists of Alf Fury here. He's not going to pummel any cats into submission, unfortunately. Not going to be in the cards here today. But you do got 2 finger pointing hands. He can do a little bit of that, or he can do some E.T. Come Home if he wants to as well. 2 pointing fingers right there. A straight up small tight gripping hand, and then you got 2 more loose gripping hands, C-clamp hands, whatever you want to call it, but we got some gripping hands ready to go for old Alf there. So choose your own hand adventure, choose your own pizza adventure. I'm going sausage pepperoni is what I'm going, but I'll try about anything at least once. It says freshest pizza. You've tried the best, now try the rest. Now it's just a cardboard box here. It would have been nice if it was a plastic box, but it does open up, and I do like the attention to detail here. There's no pizza inside, but you do got that little piece of like parchment paper underneath that you get when you get a pizza, and it's got some oil stains, some tomato stains, things like that. So very cool, and you do get 2 slices of pizza here, so I guess the pizza is left over. Now, gotta get the most out of your molds. I would not be shocked if these aren't left over from the Turtles movie NECA line pizzas. Very similar looking, very similar feeling. Same thing with the pizza box. I could see them reusing some of that. Obviously, they didn't use an Alf pizza box, but they got the mold for it, just put different graphics on it. Once again, it's the toy business. Got to get the most out of your molds right there. So, got a little pizza action going on. How about a little Rubik's Cube action as well? This one has not been touched. It would be very cool if this was a real one that worked. But I think on the back it said like 80's Cube or something like that. Obviously, Rubik's Cube is used by somebody else. I remember my grandma had one of these living around her house or whatever when I was a kid. I was trying to figure it out, and it was too complicated for me. I didn't know there was like a key to it. There was like a secret to doing it. But it's wild if you've ever seen somebody do it in person where they're like, and they get it all done. It's a cool thing. There used to be a kid at my school that could do that, and guess what? He was a big nerd. Can you imagine a big nerd being able to do that? Well, that's what happened back in the day. Big nerds are good at the Rubik's Cube. So if you're really good at the Rubik's Cube, you better look yourself in the mirror and say, am I a nerd? Am I? And you might be, but that's okay. We're all nerdy in some way. Except me, of course. Of course, not me. Alf on the skateboard here. You got to think a lot of yourself to get a skateboard of yourself, I would imagine here. But it is Alf, a little cartoon Alf on the front. Got all kinds of stuff on the back. And whenever I see 80s skateboards, I always go back to remembering when my babysitter, I got grounded and left at home, and my babysitter and my sister went to the park, and they took my skateboard, and they left it at the park. And then hours later, I said, where's my skateboard? And the babysitter said, oh my gosh, I took it to the park, and I forgot it at the park. Well, you're never going to believe it. Like 10 hours later, there's no skateboard. Somebody took my skateboard, and right there, my skateboarding dreams were crushed forever. You hear of Tony Hawk, you would have heard of Kyle Peterson, skateboarding expert. If it wasn't for that fateful day, I don't know where that babysitter is. I don't know what happened to her, but if I ever come across her, she says, hey, I was your babysitter when you were a kid. I'd give her a piece of my mind. I might even give her a fist to the face. I might have to, because where could my life be if I was another Tony Hawk? Sure, I would have broke a bone or two probably along the way, but what could have been? And that babysitter took that away from me, and I'll never forget it here many, many years later. So there it is. Alf and his skateboard, ready to go. What could have been? What could have been? And what could have been if Kyle in the 80s had a Zach Morris phone? That would have been amazing. Not in the cards for me here, but you do get that old school 80s, 90s, early 90s cell phone right here in black. Seen it before. We'll see it again, I am sure. For some reason, I thought this came apart. No, Paulie Dangerously, the Mattel one, comes apart of this one, not this one there. But it is a nice phone if that is your thing. You're looking for that. We got a little soda can here. Fusco soda, kind of like Sprite, but different. Once again, I think this is reuse of another one that we've seen in the past. Looking like Sprite right here. You got to have something to wash down that pizza or the cats with if you need to. How about a little arcade here? A little Atari. Now, Atari before my time. My uncle, who was about 10 years older than me, he had Atari. And when I go to my grandma's, it was there. But I don't remember ever really playing Atari. I don't remember ever giving it a go. Obviously, I've seen some of the games and stuff. But I was an original Nintendo kid, and more, really at the end, more of a Super Nintendo kid. But you got the NECA Entertainment on here. It doesn't say Atari anywhere, but definitely looks like Atari. Alien Invaders game, got that old school joystick. Very cool, great for figure photographers. Could see people using this with other toy lines if that is their thing along the way. And you can't have a video game system without a TV. And once again, would not be shocked if this isn't reused from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles NECA line. Feels very similar to those. You just get a different image in here. And once again, it goes back to that Alf cartoon from back in the day. I believe it was on NBC, if I'm not mistaken. But you do have this if that is your thing. You need a TV with Alf on. You're in luck. And then last but not least, in the accessories department, man, if you're in the 80s and 90s, you had to have some cool shades. And I recommend some cool shades to this day. And you got some Ray-Bans. And those are the kind of shades I usually wear, or aviators. Looking good here. Love the pink on the side. The pink and black attack. Repping the Heart Foundation is what Alf's doing with this one here. So A lot of accessories. In a figure like this, we're 4 deep into Alfs. You gotta load things up with accessories to get people that are on the fence to jump over and buy this figure, and I think they did a pretty good job with this one right here. But now I'm diving into old Alf. We're going to see what old Alf is up to here. And it feels like all the other Alf figures. And that's one of the things. You get all these accessories, the t-shirts, but at the core of the figure, it is the same figure just repeated for the most part. And we'll compare all the other Alfs here in a little bit. But you got that little bit of hair up there on the top of Alf. He's got those 2 pointy ears. Got that big nose, that big schnoz there on him. Got the big eyebrows as well. I get to see him combing those eyebrows up. Love that we got the jaw that is movable here. You got to have something like that on a figure like that. Opens up so much extra personality for Alf. I'm here for that all day long. And twice on Sunday. You heard it here first. Of course, got the hands here. We talked about the hands being removable there. He's got the Alf shirt on. It says Alf, no problem. And it's a cartoon version of Alf. Now, no Velcro here, so this comes off and on like a regular shirt. Gonna be very difficult to get off. You gotta pop the head off, pop the hands off, and work your way off. To me, you don't remove this. So you don't need Alf without a shirt, I don't think. Maybe you do. But there is many versions of Alfs. Like I said, this is the 4th one here. So you got to choose your own Alf adventure. You got to make them as different as possible. And a shirt like this definitely makes it different. So it does look good, all things considered. Furry all over. You know me, hairy bipedal creature. I'm here for that all day long. Looking good here with the fur. Just want to snuggle up on the couch with him is what I want to do. Oh, just like my boy Lemmy. Similar but different. Arms all the way around on him right here, of course. Moving back and forth. Little bicep action. Double jointed pinless elbows. You know I'm here for that. Hands removable back and forth, side to side. Head back and forth, side to side. Jaw movable. Of course, hula hoop up there. You do got those big old Alf splits. Look at that. Just a gymnast up on Melmac, I think. Melnac, ready to go there. Leg goes up a little bit. Single jointed knee, side to side. Ankles back and forth, side to side, up and down. Got those big old feet on Alf here. Got those big old feet, those toes. Looking very nice. Not sure if he's going to fit on a Mattel ringside collectible stand. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10%. What do you know? He fits on a stand if you need it. If you need some extra balance for our boy Alf, he will fit on a stand right there. So not a bad figure. Getting deeper and deeper into the line here. We're into the championship rounds after all with Alf. This one's not going to be for everybody. And what I've seen out there at store level, keeping my eyes to the streets, I don't see as many of this Alf as some of the prior editions. The first edition really to be right there in front. Because they didn't make as many of this one. I think most people got one Alf and called it a day. But then there's crazy people like myself who got their skateboard stolen as a kid, and they're all in on Alf figures. That's what we got going here today. So not going to be tons of these out there. Probably going to be worth the most of all the Alf figures just because it's so deep in the line and people got theirs. That's just my guess. But going back to the first version of Alf here, we had this one. Very similar. Once again, obviously they're all going to be very similar. We go back to San Diego Comic-Con. Was this, what, 2023 San Diego Comic-Con? He's got ready to go. He's ready to go to San Diego Comic-Con. And then this year's San Diego Comic-Con, we got Superhero Alf. So what more Alfs can we get? What more Alfs could they bring us? I don't know. I want a bald Alf where he shaved all of his hair off. How about that one? Who knows? But a lot of different Alfs, a lot of different accessories between all the different ones. Remember, we got the cat sandwich. We got a lot of different stuff. So it's nice that we get different accessories with these Alfs figures to make them different, to be able to build out some dioramas, build out some scenes, or build out your shelf, really. But I don't know. Is there more meat on the bone for Alf? I think most people, you guys tell me, do you think we need more Alfs? I don't think we do. I think we're ready to call it quits right here. I wouldn't be against the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive every year. They could do some wild things with Alf. That would be maybe okay, but as far as traditional retail, I think they got to pump the brakes and call it good for now, because I think most people got an Alf figure by now between these four. But maybe I'm wrong. You guys tell me in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on this Alf figure. Let me know which one you picked up, or were you like me and picked up every single one? Let me know in the comments down below. You made it this far, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and my other YouTube channel. 2 channels with videos every single day. Both channels do feed over to the Patreon. Patreon, best way to support this channel. One-stop shop. You get all the glamour shots, giveaways, Q&As, you name it. It's all going down the old Patreon channel. Appreciate the support over there. You can also, of course, head over to ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson, pick up a t-shirt. SirPaul64 on the X, now on TikTok. Check me out over there. _Kyle_Peterson on Threads and on Instagram. So for Totally 80s Alf, I'm Totally 80s Kyle, and I'll see you guys all real soon.